Today, we are going to talk about turning your CX work into decisions that actually move things forward using our newest feature, reports. So what are reports? We all know that CX generates huge amounts of data, whether it's customer interviews, metrics, surveys, transcripts, you name it. But here's the catch. Even the most insightful data is useless if it never gets acted on. So we've built reports to help CX professionals to connect the dots between the maps, personas, and all this scattered data that they have in the workspaces, to turn it into actionable insights that can drive real impact. So basically, reports represent your workspace data in a more meaningful and structured way. So now let me switch to UXPressia platform to show you where you can find reports and what type of reports you can create. For today's presentation, I'm using this Novacare Health System workspace. It has this healthcare topic, so all the reports that I'm going to show you will also be around healthcare, just so you know. Okay, so let's get practical and take a look at those use cases. And the first one is going to be using reports for strategic decision making. So we all know that working with and prioritizing those improvement ideas is not an easy task. It's quite tough. You think that everything is equally important. But reports will help you to cut through the noise. Now you can simply filter out the ideas and focus on the quick wins, or simply take a look at the metrics and compare ideas based on their value and effort to implement them. But enough talking, let's jump straight into the demonstration. So I'm heading to reports, all ideas. And here I have the list of ideas. I actually already applied some filters, but let me show this from scratch. I have the list of all ideas that our team generated on the ideation phase. And besides the ideas, I also have their statuses, the score, and other important information about those ideas. So now let's imagine that I want to focus on those that will require least amount of effort to implement them and will bring the biggest value. So I go to the filter, I look for ideas with the smallest amount of effort to implement, and we'll add another condition and focus on the value, which I expect to be really big, like large and extra large. So I filter those ideas, and here I have a list of the ideas with the biggest impact and the least amount of effort. But sometimes you might have a lot of ideas and a lot of options to choose from. So you can switch to the graph view in such case and take a look at this metrics view. Again, with horizontally, we have this effort axis. Vertically, we see the value. You can either take a look at the business value or switch to customer perspective, and also check the ideas that will bring most benefit for customers. And so you can quickly understand how many ideas and which ideas are on this highest point on this scale. For example, here we have one idea which might be the best in terms of value and effort ratio. We also have list of some medium ideas with medium value and medium effort required. So again, this is just a view to quickly grasp these ideas and to understand how to prioritize them further. Okay, so that was the first use case. Now let's move to the next one. And that would be to use reports to translate your CX into business language. So what do I mean by that? We all know that management typically does not want, and well, let's be honest, does not need to look into details of every single interview or every single journey. So for all they want is just clarity, and reports can help you with that. So basically, you can simply demonstrate the distribution of all the problems or the hypothesis across the maps and personas that you have in the workspace. So let me demonstrate it to you on the example with the problems. So as you can see, I have a list of problems here, and I will sort them by the priority. Let me apply this sorting. So, okay, I see there are several problems with the highest priority, and I can easily grasp that there are some of the highest priority problem have just a single user assigned to manage those problems. And that might be a signal to dive deeper and understand whether it's an efficient way to work with those problems. And maybe someone else is needed. So it's just an example how you can deal with it. You can check who is responsible for what. You can spot these bottlenecks in this table, and then simply report on this data. Let's move to the third, and that would be using reports to optimize your journeys and personas. So sometimes if you want to improve your customer journey map or your persona experience, or if you want to, for example, share with your team members the Touchpoints performance, the overall performance of the Touchpoints, you can start with Touchpoints Report. Again, Touchpoints Report is located right here. And I got the list of all the touch points in my workspace. So I can also apply some sorting, some filtering. So for example, I want to focus on all the highest priority touch points. And also I'd like to group them by occurrence. So I want to do we have this? So maybe let's group by priority and sort them by their occurrence. So how many maps or personas this or that touch point has. So we see that there are many high priority touch points, and some of them appear in 7 maps or in 6 maps, so quite frequently. And that, again, is a sign to focus on the performance of this touch point, to dive whether this touch point is performing well or not, because it makes a big impact on the overall journey. But if you want to take a holistic overview of all the touch points performance across the whole organization, you can also access this graph view in Touchpoints. And this one, it's also represented as a table with a priority scale, with a score scale, and the different touch points located in different places of this table. And this table can help you understand what is the overall situation in the business. Means if there are many touch points high in this table, it means that the situation is quite good, that they have high score, they're performing well. If there are a lot of touch points, especially high priority ones, lower on the scale, it means that it might need some investigation and focus on the situation. That was the third use case when reports can come in handy. But now let's talk about the fourth one, and that would be using reports when advocating with data. What do I mean by that? When you, for example, request a budget for something, when you justify the roadmap shift, or maybe you would like to back up some changes in the roadmap also, you might want to tell your story with numbers, especially for management. They really like that. So in this case, reports can also be useful. So, for example, let me again showcase you this on the example with problems. For instance, you're requesting a budget for dealing with some problems. So this table will be really handy because you can focus on problems with the highest priority. You can also filter those that occur most frequent, for example, more than 2 times. I filter it. I see that there are several touch points of the highest priority that occur 3 and 4 times. So that might be a clear signal for management to invest money into solving these problems, because again, they have a really big impact on the overall journey. So yeah, and now, last but not least, type of reports that you can generate is workspace insights. And that would be the case when you need to mine those insights automatically using AI. So that's exactly where things got really smart. Workspace Insights uses AI to surface those insights, patterns, trends across your maps, personas, documents, and so on. All you need to do is just to ask a question, and AI will do the digging for you. Of course, the question you ask to AI should be specific, it should be clear. So for AI to bring the valuable and meaningful response, right? So I actually already generated some of these reports. So let me show you what the generated report may look like. Here in this report, my question for AI was to help me find the most critical pain points across all journeys in my workspace. And as you can see, AI helped me to find those insights. We see digital interactions, gaps, some problems with onboarding, actually 5 insights. It also provides links to evidence, and I can open them up and review the original document where AI took from this information. So yeah, besides that, it uncovered some patterns and trends. And what I love the most is it's not just highlights those insights, but it also comes up with implications and recommendations on dealing with those insights. And that's a really cool way. It's kind of like you have your own expert that will focus on your specific case. At the bottom of the page, you see this related chunks field, and these are the chunks that AI automatically generated based on the insights it uncovered, so that you can take those chunks and apply them directly in your work. For example, as you can see here, we have a few observations, several problems, ideas, and a task. So you can simply start assigning responsible for the task, maybe set up the due date. So start working and turning those insights into actions straight away. So now I would like to ask you to help me with the question to AI. I would like to showcase how to generate those insights from scratch, and we will ask AI to generate insights using your help, if you don't mind. So I'm heading to this add new option, and I need to ask a question. So please share your questions that you would like me to ask AI. Just I would like to you to remember that the topic of this workspace, the theme of this workspace is healthcare. So I would appreciate if you could just keep this in mind. And feel free to share some examples of the questions to ask AI. In the meantime, while you are coming up with the questions and requests, I will set the scope for AI. So first, I need to choose what territory AI will analyze. It can be the whole workspace with all maps, personas, and include all the files, or you can narrow down its search to specific document. For example, I will do that. I will choose outpatient care and inpatient care tags to focus on. Next, you need to choose what type of documents you want AI to use in this generation. It can be all types. I will choose this, or you can focus just on a specific ones, on certain types of documents. Then, also a really handy thing is the ability to add additional documents for AI to review them as well. And that is really convenient. So I have several documents attached. These are the documents from my team library, but I will be able to add new ones. My cat joined me. You may hear him, but I can also add some new documents here. For example, if I get new research bits, like new customers were interviewed and I've got some new information and this info was not yet added to actual maps and personas, I can simply attach doc here. And it will also use this information while generating insights. And last but not least, chunks. So I want AI to ask, if appropriate, to automatically generate chunks based on the insights it's going to uncover. So that I already have some basis to start acting on. Okay, so let's see what questions do you have, if you do have any. Okay, I see Yana shared a few questions. Okay, let's choose this one. Just a second, I will show you. So let us ask AI, where do communication breakdowns most often occurs between patient and providers? So we asked our question, we set the scope of analysis, we added all the documents needed and asked AI to generate chunks. And now let's generate those insights. This generation may take a few minutes, 1 to 2. You can either watch it live or you can switch to other tasks. You'll get notification via email once it's ready. So what we see here, again, our question, as you might remember, was where do communication breakdowns most often occur between patients and providers? Let's see. First, it shows us these communication breakdowns. First, fragmented or unclear discharge, medical jargon and language barriers, incomplete provided interactions. Of 4 insights were uncovered. Again, every single insight has links to evidence where it was taken from. Then patterns and trends, and lastly, the list with recommendations. Also, we see the related chunks field is populated with different type of chunks. We see several problems created, observations, also a few hypotheses, tasks. So we can start, as I said, start working with these chunks and add the needed details. Assign owners, For example, I will assign this one to Eliana. Due date for completing the task, let it be 22nd of September. You will be able to track progress and so on. Also, important thing to know that every single type of report you can export as a PDF and CSV file, and this will these, for example, this workspace insights type of report might be really handy if you plan to do some kind of update or lightweight reporting maybe to the team. So you can simply export it as a one-pager and present it, use it as an asset during your presentations. So yeah, that actually brings me to the end of today's session.